Hello, second grade Smarties, and welcome to iReady Math Lesson 17, video number 3. Today we are in our instruction book on pages 164 and 165. So we are still exploring ways to measure length. So let's go ahead and hop right into page 164. It says, read the problem, then you will look at ways to measure. The problem says Jonah wants to measure the length of the ribbon he used to wrap this present. What is the length of the ribbon in centimeters? I'm going to underline the word centimeters. Now let's think about what we have learned about centimeters and inches. Which unit is longer in length, inches or centimeters? Inches are longer and centimeters are shorter. Remember, we talked about how centimeters are the distance between the top of our pinky. So we are going to be exploring ways to measure with centimeters. So let's look at our examples on pages 164. It says you can use a ruler to find the length. And the page wants you to know that the rulers and meter sticks on this page are not life-size. These are just examples. So it says you can use a ruler to find the length. So here is the ribbon, and here is a centimeter ruler. This is a ruler. So we are going to look at rulers and meter sticks. Okay, so the first thing we could use is we could use rulers. It says line up the left edge of the ribbon with the 0 on the ruler. Now look at our ruler that we have. Is that ruler long enough to measure the length of the ribbon? No. So look at what it says next. It says mark where that ruler ends. Then move the ruler so that the 0 is at your mark. Repeat this until you find the length. All right, let's pause really fast and look at page 165. It says, look at the first measure it. The length of the ribbon is equal to how many rulers? How many rulers were used to measure the length of the ribbon? We had 1, 2, 3. We had 3 centimeter rulers. It says how many centimeters are on each ruler. So let's look at the first ruler. Do you see where that picture is zooming in on it? How many centimeters are in the centimeter ruler? 30. So we have 30 centimeters. All right, number 10 says write an equation to find the length of the ribbon. Okay, so we know that 1 centimeter ruler is 30 centimeters long. So we know 1 is 30 centimeters. How long is the second one going to be? It's also going to be 30 centimeters. And the third one, also centimeters. So if we put 30 plus 30 plus 30 together, how many centimeters long is the ribbon? Think about it. What did you get? 90 centimeters. I figured that out by thinking about 30 plus 30 equals 60. That's a doubles fact. And 60 plus 30 equals 90. All right, number 11 says, look at the meter stick. How long is the ribbon? So let's say that we have a meter stick that we can use. Remember, we talked about yardsticks yesterday. Yardsticks measure in inches, and it measures 36 inches. Our meter stick, if we look at the second measure it says to line up the left edge of the ribbon with the 0 on the meter stick. In the zoomed in picture on the meter stick, how many centimeters is measured? Look really closely. Where does our right end of the ribbon end? How many centimeters are there? There are 90 centimeters. So if we used a meter stick, we would get the same length that we used with the centimeter rulers. So which one was easier to use, a meter stick or a ruler? The meter stick was easier, right? Why is the meter stick easier? Go ahead and write your answer and the right about it, and then we will double check our answer. So go ahead and pause and write your answer. All right, so a meter stick is easier because I'm explaining why, so I'm using that word because it only uses one tool. Okay, remember yesterday we talked about how yardsticks would be easier because if we used a ruler and then another ruler and then another ruler, it's easier to make mistakes, right? So when we have just one tool to use, it is easier to measure. All right, and let's look at number 13. It says circle the objects that are easier to measure with a centimeter ruler. Underline the objects that are easier to measure with a meter stick. Now we know a centimeter ruler is 30 centimeters. And a meter stick is 3 centimeters put together. So think about it. With a ruler, are we going to measure objects that are shorter in length or longer in length? With a ruler, we will measure objects that are shorter in length. With a meter stick, what are we going to measure? Objects are things that are longer in length. So let's look at it. A hot dog. Which one would make more sense to use, a ruler or a meter stick? I'm going to circle it, which means that I think a centimeter ruler would be easier. Because think about a hot dog. A hot dog is probably as long as my pen. A meter stick would be silly to use, right? Because the length is not long enough for a meter stick. What about your height? Your height is how tall you are. Which one would make sense to use, a ruler or a meter stick? A meter stick, right? Because meter sticks are longer in length. What about a jump rope? If we laid a jump rope on the floor, which would be easier to use, a ruler or a meter stick? Probably a meter stick, so we're going to underline it. What about a book? This one's kind of tricky. Which one do you think would be easier to use? A ruler or a meter stick? Remember, a meter stick is 3 centimeter rulers put together. Which one would make the most sense to you? I think it would make more sense to use a ruler. And what about a pencil? Would we use a ruler or a meter stick? We would use a ruler. All right, Smarties, that is it for video number 3 for lesson 17. Remember to keep that growth mindset, good learners do hard things, and be precise with your measuring. Happy learning, Smarties.